What's happening, party people? Happy Motivate Monday. I want to talk to you about the power of sales and leadership and community. If you have these three components as a part of your daily method of operation, it could literally change your life and how you see things and how you move through the world, how you impact the world in ways that you probably haven't even imagined. And I do understand that you may have never been in sales before, you've never had any experience with it. So I'm going to invite you just to take a little trip with me. I'm going to challenge you to open up your mind, open up your spirit, open up your heart to some different thinking. And if you don't want to take the full journey with me, that's okay. But I know that if you open yourselves up to the information, it's going to have a significant impact on your entire life and how you're moving through life, no matter what your particular path is. So let's talk about sales. Now, sales is the transaction of purchasing something and buying something from the seller. It could be an item, could be a service or a good. And so we understand that that's a transaction that has to take place. What I want you to really appreciate, though, is that we're all in sales. Like some people will say things like, well, I don't like salespeople, or I don't like sales, or I'm not a salesperson. Everybody's in sales. Okay. And you've heard this a few times, correct? Hey, I have to sell my spouse on marrying me. I have to sell my kids on a bedtime and doing their homework on their own without me having to get on them about it. I have to sell my employer on hiring me, or sell my employer on getting a promotion. We're constantly leveraging the art of sales in order to move things along and get things done. All of us have had the experience of walking into a place of business, and some of us had our minds made up before we got there that we're not going into this business without leaving with what we were coming to get. And so that's what we call a laydown. That's an easy sell. Some of us have gone into situations where we're going in to intentionally browse, but we encounter someone who's really able to expand our imagination, open up our possibilities, and we end up leaving with some stuff, right? And then there's different variations, in between. But sales is about service, and I'm going to give you my definition, my working definition. Sales is about service. Sales is about leaving someone better than how you found them. Sales is about adding as much value and solving as many problems as you possibly can. And if you go into the world of sales with that come from, it's not as difficult. It's not as, it doesn't have the stigma that some people associate with it. Sometimes people hear the word sales and they think scumbag, they think used car salesman, they think somebody is trying to get over on me, trying to get something from me. No, sales is about service. And so for me, when I really began to understand it and put it together was when I got involved in business myself. Prior to that, as an actor, I was selling myself. I was selling myself to a casting director. I was selling myself to producers, writers, directors, that I was going to be the best person for the role. And that was sales, right? Like I everything was based on me. And if I didn't book jobs, I didn't eat. So I learned very early on how to be 100% reliant on me and not having to seek a quote unquote job or paycheck, a steady gig, where a lot of times you're overworked, underpaid, and undervalued, because people that get involved with a job, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times they're looking for instant gratification. They want a paycheck, they want some sort of insurance and benefits and some kind of a pension or 401k, whatever it is. So they're looking for instant gratification, which means they're willing to allow someone else to assign them their value, and they're willing to accept whatever ceiling the income that they're being paid, whatever that is. If it's 80,000 or 100,000 or 120,000 a year, they're going to accept that. They're not going to question it. And even if it doesn't, increase that much, they're fine with it because what? It's predictable. They think it's secure, but we all know government shutdowns. Hello, there's no such thing as a safe, secure job. But they think it's secure and they like the predictability of it. That aside, what you can do in sales, excuse me, is you can assign yourself the value that you want to bring to the marketplace, and then you can work your way to creating that value in your life. And that is the freedom, that is the empowerment of sales. Now, you could sell cars, you could sell homes, you could sell insurance, you could sell a service or a product or goods. There's different categories that we're all familiar with. But the beauty of it is if you're understanding the power and the dynamic of serving other people, if you're someone that genuinely likes to solve problems, you genuinely like to leave people better than how you found them, then sales an incredible space to be in. And it also happens to be one of the highest paid professions in the world. So that's the power of it. There's no ceiling. No one can ever come to you and say you're selling too much. You made $150,000 in commissions last month. That's way too much. You're going to have to dial it back. Said no one ever, because it's about rewarding. It's about impacting. That's like somebody going to the individuals that assembled the iPhone and telling them, well, you can only sell 3 million iPhones. After that, it's too many sales, too much sales, too many iPhones. Well, no, of course not. The iPhone is one of the highest selling devices in the world. And there's literally tens of millions of people that buy that thing and upgrade it every year. Can you imagine if somebody tried to put a cap on that? So you have individuals that create significant income, and some break through to significant wealth because they're doing what? They're serving a lot of people. They're solving problems for a lot of people, i.e., communication. You and I are probably on an iPhone right now with this device. Um, and they're bringing tremendous value. We have these little mini computers, and I dare say, $800,000, $900,000 is a reasonable price to have a computer in your back pocket that you can make phone calls, text messages, emails, watch entertainment, record yourself, do videos. It's a camera, it stores things. Like, that's pretty insane. That's a lot of value. Therefore, you create what? Win-win situations. And this is the power of sales. So once I was transitioning from acting to being a keynote speaker, so it was my own business. So I had to generate, again, if I don't book speaking engagements, I don't eat. So I had to book that by bringing a lot of value, providing service, serving those my clients that I was working with that were bringing me in, solving the problems. Hey, we need some help with mindset. We need some help with casting vision. We need some sort of a process, some sort of a way to measure the progress and that we do once you're done with your presentation to make sure people are implementing it, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm doing all of those things. And I love it because I'm able to bring tremendous value, leave people better than how I found them. And I know that I served them well. So that's service. That's solving problems. That's bringing a lot of value. So that's sales. Okay. That's sales in a nutshell. Again, one of the highest paid professions in the world. If you're not doing it, I suggest that you start learning that skill. For those of you that are watching, if you listen, you can reach out to me directly. DM me at Facebook or Instagram at Ed Blunt. Just say, hey, listen, I'd like to have a conversation with you about sales and how you've been leveraging that skill to generate income in your household. We've leveraged what we've done in sales, and it's done tremendous things in our life, in terms of paying for our lifestyle, enabling us to do a lot of great things with our family, incredible trips, education for our kids, et cetera, et cetera. It's all because of sales. Like, there's no question about it, because we sought to serve, add value, and solve problems. So that's sales. Now, leadership. I believe you can't have one without the other if you want to be massively impactful and successful. Now, you can be in sales and you don't have to be a leader, and you can, have, again, that's going to cap your income. That's like somebody who's selling retail, somebody who works at a clothing store. They might get a percentage point or whatever, but they're not in leadership. They can't do it. There's no override. They're not building teams. It doesn't require leadership, which means it means you're not going to make a lot of money. Now, leadership, ladies and gentlemen, is the highest paid profession in the world. Sales is one of the highest paid professions in the world. Leadership is the highest paid profession in the world. Think about it. Think about any individual that you know who is a gazillionaire, okay? It's because of leadership. You know, we all have our opinions about how people are, how they move, whether they have character or not, like that's fine. But you can't look at someone like an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos or an Oprah Winfrey or a Magic Johnson. You can't look at any of those people and tell me that they're not effective leaders, meaning they have a vision, they're able to convey that vision, they have other people that buy into the vision that are willing to do whatever it takes to help them fulfill the vision. Like, you can't do it on your own. No one is massively impactful without other people. You just can't do it. Okay. So we can talk about the impact of the electric car, Tesla, right? I'm not talking about the political side of things, or the thinking, that's a different conversation. I'm just talking from a very practical standpoint. You can't argue that the Tesla is not an impactful automobile for electric cars that made an impact on the planet, for sure. You can't argue that Amazon has not made an impact on the planet, like in terms of speed of delivery, access, all of that. You can't argue that Oprah didn't change the entire landscape of television and foster in this culture of personal development TV. You can't argue that Magic Johnson was not only one of the greatest athletes to grace the NBA, but then he became one of the most successful businessmen, and he's by far one of three or four people that have been massively successful in sport, and equally, if not more so, in business. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you could throw those names in there as well, Lionel Messi, etc. But my point is that leadership is a part of it. Your ability to bring people together, your ability to identify people that have a similar alignment in terms of their ability to put in work, their ability to think outside of the box, their willingness to lock arms and get into the trenches and weather the storms, the inevitable obstacles that serve as opportunities in order for you to bring that vision to light. And so leadership is key, okay? And leadership requires so many different things. I can do, and I will. I'm not going to do it here. There's a whole talk that I'll do on leadership by itself because it warrants it. But for the sake of these 3 points, sales and leadership, and now I can't even remember the third one. It'll come to me. But leadership is important because, number one, you got to be able to lead yourself. You have to be able to lead yourself. How do you do that? It's your discipline. It's your ability to get up and do the things that need to be done, whether you feel like doing them or not. It's the example that you set. It's how you move when no one else is watching. It's how you move so that when people catch you or they see you and you don't see them, they're learning something. They're drawing inspiration. It's because your life is an example instead of a warning. What you embody are the principles of being the message that I am bringing, being and embodying the principles that I espouse because I live by them. How do I treat my spouse every single day? How do I treat my children every single day? How do I show up for my work? Do I have discipline? Am I disciplined in my daily habits in terms of my eating and my exercise and my regimen, et cetera, et cetera? So leadership starts first at home, your ability to lead yourself, because if you can't lead you, then please don't try to lead me. So when people are in your presence, they understand you can take them somewhere they've never been because you're living it. You're the embodiment of it. The second part of it is your ability to now chart a course for those who want to lock arms with you, for those that want to strategically be in company with you so that they can then begin to elevate in their life. They can then begin to really take things to a completely different level, right? So there's sales and then there's leadership. And I cannot believe I'm blanking on the third one right now. This is what happens when, you get accustomed to just kind of having a message in your head and you just start conveying it. But I'll keep digging in a little bit more on the leadership standpoint, because what leadership does is it creates accountability. It means that you're accountable for how you show up every day. There are some days where I don't feel like putting out content. There are some days when I don't feel like working out. There are some days when I don't feel like doing the work in order to build our businesses. But it doesn't matter. How I feel is irrelevant. I don't get caught up in my feelings. I stay out of them because ain't no money in there. Where the discipline comes in And where it is most important is when you're not when you're feeling least like not doing anything. It's how you show up on your worst days that determine the length and the quality of your best days. I'll say it again. How you show up on your worst days determines the length and the quality of your best days. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what leadership is all about. So, sales, and then leadership, and what is the third one? I cannot believe this is really like I'm tripping right now because I'm live and I didn't write it down. I just had it in my head. And I said, I want to talk about these three things. And I said it at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to go back and watch this and I'm going to be like, oh, damn, that was the third one. So bear with me. I said sales. I was going somewhere with it, leadership, and let's say entrepreneurialism. Okay, business. Because it's whatever I said in the beginning. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it is. I don't know, but it goes together because when I understood what sales was, because I got involved in entrepreneurialism, that's what changed my life. Meaning, I had to learn how to build something out of nothing. I had to truly move from faith. Now, yes, I had to have a vision for myself as an actor. I moved to New York. I didn't know how things were going to unfold, but I had a vision, and I was dogged and determined, and there was no freaking way I was not going to be a full-time working actor in that city. And that's exactly what happened. Off Broadway, Broadway, film, television, etc. Voiceovers, commercials, you name it. It was a blast. Had an incredible time. Incredible time. Incredible time. But that's another story for another day. So entrepreneurialism requires faith. It does. Like you have to have activated faith. The evidence of things hoped for, the substance of things not seen, meaning you have mindsight, i.e., vision. You have a clear and concise mental picture of what it is that you want to create. So the reason I believe everyone should be involved in sales, leadership, and entrepreneurialism is because, and maybe it's a new three, bear with me, but from the beginning of this video, because I can't remember what the third one was, but I think it was entrepreneurialism. But see, when you have those three things, ladies and gentlemen, it takes your life and it expands it. It stretches and you find out muscles that you have that you didn't even know that you had. How many times have you ever been in a situation where you took a class, you tried CrossFit, you did a workout, you did a boxing gym, martial arts, something, right? And you went through the process, and by the time you got to the other side of it, number one, you were exhausted. Number two, you felt accomplished. Number three, you were put in touch with muscles that you didn't even know were there. And all of a sudden, your mind has been expanded. And you have a choice to make. Do I want to keep growing in this direction, or do I want to park? Do I say I never want to do that again because it was too painful, too uncomfortable? Or do I say I want to lean into that because I like that version of me that's showing up that has mental toughness that I didn't know that I had? I didn't know I had a fighting spirit. I didn't know that that person was inside of me. Had it not been for that difficult, challenging class, I would not have met this version of me on the other side of it. That's entrepreneurialism, ladies and gentlemen, because it is hard. It's going to put you in touch with muscles that you didn't even know that you had. It requires things of you that make you uncomfortable. It keeps you perpetually out of your comfort zone because your comfort zone is your broke zone. Your comfort zone is your broke zone. Entrepreneurialism keeps you in the uncomfortable growth zone, perpetually learning, constant, never ending improvement. And you learn how to outwork, how to outlast, how to out strategize, and how to out improve. And if you focus on those four tenets, I got that from PBD, then that becomes a part of your life that affects every area of your life. If I'm really focusing on outworking people, then that calls into empowerment, my discipline, my ability to show up and put in the work because I have a ridiculously insane work ethic. If I'm committed to out improving, that means I can learn, I can grow, I can read, I can keep working on myself, expanding my mind. I'm never satisfied. I know that there's so much more that I don't know than what I do know. And then I'm going to focus on out strategizing, strategically bringing people into the circle, strategic partnerships, doing things to grow and elevate the business that I'm building, and then outlast. A lot of people can make a lot of noise for a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, but you won't really know who's who for at least 8, 10 years from now. So if that's your come from and you understand that, hey, I'm playing the long game, now you can really focus on consistency, showing up every day, bringing forth value, serving, solving problems, and bringing value. If that's your come from every single day, that compounds, ladies and gentlemen, over time. And in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your life looks totally different. And how you're showing up for the people in your life, it's just at a different level. And that's the beauty and the magic of it. So listen, if you're working your job, that's great. I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I am telling you that the muscles that you're going to get in touch with in business are far greater, more challenging, and better for you to do it. So if you would like to have a conversation with me and talk about the possibility of you and I partnering together, let's do it. I'd love to have that. If somebody else is sharing this with you, then have the conversation with them. It's all about growing. It's all about giving yourself more options. See, the issue that I have with most jobs is that most people are capped out on their income. Like if you went into your employer and you asked your employer, I'd like to double or triple my annual income this year in the next 12 months. What do I have to do? I'm willing to do it. Just tell me what I got to do. Your employer's not going to give you the option because the compensation plan doesn't offer it. So even if you wanted to double or triple or quadruple it in a year or 2 years, there's no compensation structure for you to have that opportunity. So if you feel that, hey, I feel like I have that much value, I have that much to offer, but you're telling me that there's no way for me to do it here, guess what? It means you're in the wrong vehicle if you want financial increase in your life. It might be the right vehicle because you love your job, but your job may not love you. It might be the right vehicle because you love your job, but your job doesn't value you as much as it would value somebody who's an entertainer. You understand? So these are the benefits of you taking some time out of your life and learning business, doing business, building business so that you can start to create an income for yourself in addition to what you're making on your job. It's been said, average millionaires got multiple streams of income, right? So what they typically do is they're going to iterate. They're going to be really focused on one thing. They're going to dominate that lane. They're going to be very successful, and then they're going to add something else that's an iteration to it, and something else, something else, something else, because they're already sitting on it. So I'm not saying you're going to spin a bunch of plates at one time and make little trickles of income. It's not what I'm talking about. What I am saying is if you have a successful career on your job or you have a successful routine, but you're overworked and underpaid, what if you took some additional time to start learning a business that you could build part-time? And I say part-time, I'm talking about 15 plus hours a week. Then you start bringing in income. And when that income, you're able to make more income in 15 hours than what you would take 40 hours to make on your job, you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. And that's not abnormal, by the way, when you're in the right business. So start having conversation. Ask me questions. Like I'm an open book. I'm happy to share whatever I can share with you from my own process, our process, what we have done in building our business, what our numbers are like, what our income is like, and everything else, so that you have some perspective. See, if you go to your job and you talk to people in your work and you say, how much are you making? How much are you making? Let me see your paycheck. Let me see your paycheck. Most people are not comfortable having that conversation. You know why? Because the employer knows that if you knew what the person next to you was making and they come late and leave early and they suck at their job, it would piss you off and you probably leave. They make it taboo to talk about what they're making because they know they're getting over on you. That's not how it works in business with us. We're very transparent. We're an open book. We don't have anything to hide. So you can actually see what people are doing, see what's available, and then decide for yourself what it is that you want to create and go out and actually create it. And what I love more than anything else is when we're working with a person or a couple or a family and their income from doing business is higher than what they make on their job. And then they can decide if they want to just keep working the job and then that's just extra income. That's great. Or if they want to actually take this thing to the next level and really start living the life and experiencing the value in the marketplace that they deserve. Because here's something that I can tell you. You and I know this to be true. I don't care where you live in the United States. You could drive 3 miles in any direction, 3 to 5 miles, and you're going to encounter a millionaire. You're going to encounter somebody who has a significant net worth. You're going to encounter someone who has no financial issues and they're just focusing on being the best version of themselves, doing whatever they do for work or their career. What's so special about you that you can't live your life at a high level income wise? What's so special about you that you can't create the impact that you feel like you're deserving and you have the value and you're willing to put in the work to do it? What's so special about you that you can't be one of the tens of millionaires who have $1 million plus net worth in the United States? I believe that you have that in you. You just have to get the right people, right vehicle, and put forth the right effort. And that's what I bring to the table. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this, please like and subscribe and share this video with some people. You know, some people out there, they working really hard. They overworked and underpaid. They panicking because holidays are coming. They're dealing with all the government shutdowns. They're kind of stressing about the economy and the tariffs and all that stuff. Listen, if you know some people that can benefit from the message, at least having a conversation that's going to elevate their thinking, perhaps look at things a different way. As J. Paul Getty said, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own. If everything you do is based on you, then you're going to be permanently capped on your income and there's severe limitations. But if you learn the power of leverage, ladies and gentlemen, it'll change your life forever. And if you focus on serving, solving problems, and adding value, it is a beautiful, honorable ride that you can take with us. Have an awesome and amazing day. See you soon.